Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, you are cordially invited to the Ariana Grande concert within The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Conner McCabe. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including a possible leak for a new model of Switch OLED Edition featuring Tears of the Kingdom. And then on Thursday, Mark and I will be ranking all of the console controllers. But in the meantime, Conner, how's it going?
It's going so great. New year, new me. New
yes.
you?
No, same old me. Same
okay.
old me. And Conner, thank you so much for stepping in to help me do a news episode.
I'm absolutely happy to do so. Missing our sweet lad, Mark, but
he'll be back.
You know,
He'll be back.
Oh,
I promise you, he'll be back.
he went out for cigarettes again.
And he's coming back, okay?
I believe you.
Do you have, Sarah and I were talking about this earlier,
Yes.
Do you have any gaming-related New Year's resolutions?
Not a single one.
Yeah, me neither. Isn't it liberating?
It is, and I don't know if it's because I didn't consider that I should, because I didn't, or that I was actually really happy with how I gamed last year. I think in the past, something that I would have hoped to improve upon, and I think I did, would have been if I'm going to start less games, and B, if I'm going to start one, if I like it, let's see it through.
Yeah.
Not that you have to. I don't think anyone has to do that. But I did a better job this year, and I actually really enjoyed seeing some stuff through that I normally would have fallen off from. That's not to say I didn't have some leftovers.
No, but you always have some leftovers. Like
yes, that's true.
And I think that's fine. I think that's good. And we need to forgive and love ourselves, Conner.
Yes.
Because look,
we do.
Finishing games, I feel like overrated.
Yeah.
I got to. We'll talk about it in what we've been playing because we've got like two weeks of gameplay to catch up on. But in the meantime, I just want to shout out the Sonic Forces borrowing program. If you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces for Nintendo Switch, you can, or at least you can get on a list to get it eventually. The list is lengthy and it's still going out. It's still coming back. Everything is in great shape here. But if you would like my copy of Sonic Forces, all you got to do is email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com and give us a mailing address. We can send you my copy, my copy of Sonic Forces. You can play it for as long as you want. You send it back. I've paid for postage both ways. There may be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in there, but that's just part of the program. And you can play that or not play that, and it's all the same to me.
I was recently at a Target where they had a discounted games area. And oh boy, did I see a copy of Sonic Forces.
I'm sure
and
you did.
Think of you.
See, no, I like that we do the Sonic Forces borrowing program. I don't like to think that there are people who see that game now and think of me.
Well, it's just
that's a self-inflicted wound.
Honestly, it wasn't even Sonic on the cover. It was you and Mark.
Yeah, well, it's they've changed a lot of those covers now to reflect the popularity of the program. All right, Conner, we've been dancing around it. Let's get into what we've been playing.
Let's absolutely.
Okay, so I'll just pick up on the thread that I teased.
Yes, please.
That I finished God of War Ragnarok. I know you have also finished God of War Ragnarok.
Overrated finishing games, by the way.
This is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Is that I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the end of the game. There's still a ton of stuff that I have left to do in the post-game, both like the post-game content and just the side quests that I left, like that I was like, no. Now is story time. I just want to I want to put this to bed. I can't believe that there are parts where Mimir is like, oh, you got a little more time. They're going to be building their defenses for a while. This is the worst Mimir accent I could be doing.
But hey, you went for it, and that's all I can ask.
But yeah, we were just like, no. We gotta bring war to Asgard. Like that has to happen. And so I did that. I loved the way the game ended. Thought it was like super fun and fulfilling and all of that good stuff. But I still feel like finishing games is overrated.
You know what?
No spoilers for God of War Ragnarok here, of course.
No spoilers. The jury's still out. I think that what I ended up doing with that game was that even though I was playing it to host a podcast episode
That's
on
right.
it, I still.
Oh, I gotta listen to that. Shout out the podcast.
Yeah, so it's a Call Me by Your Game co-op episode. It lives exclusively on our Patreon at patreon.com/supernpcradio. But Patrick, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, thank you for dropping the voice.
You're so welcome.
During the plug.
Of course. I got as embarrassed as I could. But had I not done that, I don't know if I would have touched as much of the game if I didn't know that I was going to be doing some hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. Well, and also like as quickly, because like I took my time with that game, but there reached a point where I was like, I gotta go like pedal to the metal and just like I gotta like put in some like 4 or 5 hour days on this game. Otherwise, I'll never finish it.
Yeah, I don't know for some people, because you're not the only person I've heard express this. I even was feeling it near the end of my playthrough. Was an urgency to conclude the main story.
Yeah,
and based on my feelings on the game, I think that you could probably have a longer game with a more focused story that you wouldn't necessarily have those feelings about. I think this has something to do with it spreading out a little more wide, and then that's just my speculation.
I mean, I felt well playing it, and I promise we won't be talking about God of War Ragnarok this whole time. But I felt that it could have. I don't know where exactly you would do this, but it could have been 2 games, like released 2 years apart from each other, and like you would still have like it could even be like the same maps and everything. Like it doesn't really matter, but just having like these end points where like you would stop and there would be literally no other story to do, so like now mop up the side quests that are very interesting and very good, but that I don't want to feel like I'm playing them at the expense of moving forward the main story.
Yeah, I think you're also not the only person to express this to me, this sentiment of thinking that it could have or maybe was thought to be 2 games at one point, and that is very much within the realm of possibility.
Connor, let's move off of God of War Ragnarok. What else? Let me talk about Crisis Core a little bit.
Oh, please, because I've been waiting to hear from you about
Yes, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I am maybe a third of the way through the game right now. It's very like chapter focused and very linear.
Oh, nice.
So it is not like my thought of Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy VII in general are, those are like open games, right? Where you have to head to like the next town and do the next thing, but the space between you and the next town is a wide open field, and whatever you do in that is sort of like up to you. But like there are no wide open fields, there is no world map in Crisis Core. Everything is like a series of hallways. And
interesting.
When you pull up a map, it's like 3 straight lines, and you're like, okay, great, I'm there. Maybe there's one forking path in there, maybe. So it is all really based on the combat. So you get into these like little combat scenarios, and it's pretty simple. You can swing your sword, you can dodge around, you can block, and when you hold L, then it brings up like all of the materia you have equipped. So it's like you have magic attacks or like cure or whatever, and you can cast those or use special techniques. And there's this little spinning dial that can either give you, like when it lands, it's like a roulette kind of thing. It can either give you less like roulette and more like a slot machine. It's like a slot machine.
Ooh, fun.
Except you don't
I
win
go to
money.
Casinos. I know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what all this is. None of this is foreign and kind of intimidating to me. But depending on where they land, it'll be like, okay, now for the next 30 seconds, you can use magic without spending MP.
Dang.
Or you can use special techniques without using the points AP, possibly. Ability points is probably what they're called. Or just like getting other bonuses or getting like limit breaks that you can use. So it's really about like positioning yourself, playing defensive until it's like, now you can go hog wild with whatever.
Yeah.
And then going hog wild with it. And it's all, it's very cool and fun to play a Final Fantasy game that is all combat focused.
Well, and because this is what I was guessing was the case about the game, does this scratch the combat itch from that you felt from 7 Remake?
Yes. So
Okay.
it feels very much like the combat in 7 Remake. I miss, of course, the like juggling the three characters,
that was really
which
fun.
is so fun and so cool, and is echoed nicely in God of War Ragnarok when you're switching between 3 weapons. Spoiler: this is a 3rd weapon.
Yes.
Which is also so fun to switch between them.
Oh.
But the thing that I'm really enjoying about Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is the writing. The game is very funny.
Oh, really?
Yes, unexpectedly so. And it's owed mostly to the fact that the main character Zack is like the anti-Cloud.
Yes.
Because Cloud is like a dour,
brooding, cool
guy. Zack, sincere. He's a puppy. In fact, some of the characters call him puppy, like through the course of the game. And so he's like training with all these other like members of Soldier who are a lot more like Cloud than they are like Zack.
Yes.
And so like they're going through these like huge, existential crises, and they're like, are we tools of a government? Are we monsters? Are we noble? Whatever. And Zack's like, I just trying to do good things for people. And like the contrast between who Zack is and the world that he is in is perfect comedy.
My gosh.
I love it to pieces, Connor.
You're selling this game. This is a game I already wanted to play, and I want to play worse. You're playing on Switch, correct?
I'm playing on Switch, yeah.
How's the performance?
Fine. It's a little tough to say because I know it originates as a PSP game.
Yeah.
And so I think my expectations are already sort of dialed into that.
Yes.
But like the loading times aren't bad. Performance, it's I think locked at 30 frames.
Nice.
There are some like little bits of just like graphical like tearing or like whatever where the edges are. There's just like some noise around them.
Sure.
But generally it plays great. I love holding it in my hands. Yeah, I'm really loving it.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I really want to get into that at some point. And now that we're less than 2 weeks away from a big release that we're both, I think, going to be playing, I don't know when it's going to happen.
No, and this is the eternal struggle, of course.
Yeah.
Connor, what else have you been playing?
So much. The first order of business is that we've got to celebrate me finally playing your copy of Metroid Zero Mission.
That's right. It has now been returned to me.
Yes.
Unlike Mark's copy of The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, which he loaned to me 7 years ago, and it's still in my possession.
Incredible. Yep. Well, I'm glad that one of us can return things.
I'm a bad friend.
I didn't want to say it. But what a fantastic game. I'm so glad that I got to it, 13 months after you loaned it to me.
Yep.
Last year was my Metroid year, where I ended up playing the Metroid 2 Samus Returns on 3DS. I played Super Metroid, all of these, all the way through for the first time.
Yeah.
I played Dread and Prime 1. I had played Fusion all the way through before.
Yeah.
So last year was my Metroid year.
Man,
and
what a year.
It was great. And it was all back half of the year, so it was pretty packed.
Yeah.
This is one
that was back half of last year?
Yeah, it was basically August through November when I played all 4 of those. And a bunch of other stuff. But this was really fun for me to finally give, essentially that first Metroid game its go. And it was better than I had high expectations. It surpassed those. It was so much fun. I felt good playing it because I'm so familiar with the way those games work. And even getting stuck, I didn't feel helpless. I was like, I can do this.
Right.
And yeah, there's just some stuff I didn't expect, which felt very obvious in hindsight. But I loved it, and I got to play on my new little gorgeous analog pocket.
Oh, I'm so jealous of that pocket. Mine will come someday.
It will. Next year, right? Or this year?
We're in this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So
sorry, we gotta circle back to it now. When you were saying last year that Zelda last year was your Metroid year.
I meant 2021.
You meant 2021. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, great. I was gonna say I didn't think that you played it last last
Yeah.
year during like the Donkey Kong time?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
You know, Patrick, I'm still writing Metroid on all my checks.
Oh, Connor, you got to update it to Fire Emblem Engage.
I do.
That's what goes on your checks now.
But as well of what I've been playing on the Analog Pocket is Mother 3 for the first time. I'm a big fan of Earthbound Mother 2.
Mhm.
I got this game.
Colloquially, I think fair to call it the first one, which is what
Yes.
you were going to say.
We don't acknowledge Earthbound beginnings.
Nope. Nor should we.
No. I had been looking forward to this for a while. I bought this game to play as my first game on the Pocket, which Zero Mission ended up actually being that. But it's lovely. If you like the first game, this one is even more accessible and fun and has fun twists to it. The way the story is told is different. It is still a bit prickly in the difficulty in the combat, as far as just like enemies hit hard, and I'm often having to like go out of my way to heal over and over.
Yes.
But outside of that, man, it's charming.
And that's a common thing in the first Earthbound, right?
Yes.
Where it's just like, man, these like crows are dealing like a ton of damage to me.
Yeah.
What is going on?
The first part of that game specifically, up until the first boss, is very prickly. If you can get past that, it's a lot more enjoyable. But I'm still feeling that in this game.
Well, that's so. How deep into Mother 3 are you? I've never played it at all, so
I am on chapter 3. I don't know how many chapters there are. About 6 hours into this playthrough.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just fantastic. Highly recommend. And I'm just getting into it, really.
All right. We made lists, both of us, of what we've been playing the last 2 weeks, and they are lengthy lists. You ask me about one of these games, and then I'll ask you about another one of your games.
What the heck is Mom Hid My Game?
Okay, so Mom Hid My Game. I played Mom Hid My. I played all of it this morning.
Incredible.
It is a game that is free with your Amazon Prime subscription. So Prime Games does these things all the time, where there's like a free, usually Steam game that's available with your Prime subscription. This is the first time that they've ever done a partnership with Nintendo to make a game on the Switch eShop available as part of their thing. So this is available until like mid-February. If you're a Prime subscriber, and everyone is, you can play Mom Hid My Game for free.
And just so I didn't get confused.
Yeah,
it's on your Switch?
It's on my Switch.
Do you connect your?
No, so you go in Amazon. You just like look up Mom Hid My Game Amazon Prime, and then you'll like log into your Prime account, and it'll say like redeem. You hit the redeem, and then you'll get a download code to do it on your Switch.
Very cool. Tell me about this game.
Okay, so this game, it is an indie game that was probably featured in the first Indie World Showcase back when they were called like Nindies.
Oh my gosh.
And it is really just like it's like the part of like point and click adventure games that don't make sense, but just that, right? Just the parts that don't make sense. So the premise is your mother has hidden your DS or whatever. You're sort of analog to that. And so it's just like clicking on things in the room to try and like find where your game is. And it's all these like bite-sized puzzles, and they're absurd. So like there's one where and it's usually just like two screens that you can go back and forth between, and it's just like the living room and like the front of the house. And so there's one where there's like a dresser that you're pretty sure that your game is in, but there are people riding bikes through your house in front of the dresser.
They do.
And so you can't just walk up to the dresser; you'll get run over by a bike. So instead, you got to go to the other side, and there's like a note pinned to the wall, and so like you go to the note and you like tap on it. And you get the pin, and then you can put the pin down, and it pops their tires, and then you can cross.
That's fun.
So it's 50 puzzles like that.
Okay.
And when you fail, like Mom finds you trying to find your game, and he's like, "No, Mom, no." So that's it. That's the whole game.
That is amazing. I do want to ask you about another game on your list.
Go.
I saw you on Switch Online playing this, and I was like, I wonder why. Super Smash Bros. But here it says "and me's."
Okay. So every now and then I get the like. There are so many things that you can do in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yes.
That I love, and I just think like the game is this thing that just keeps on giving. But one of them is the Mii fighters. There's so much. Have you messed around at all with like the customizing the Mii fighters?
Not really.
Okay, so what you can do with there are obviously the three different kinds of Mii fighters. There's the brawler, there's this the sword fighter, and the gunner.
Yes.
And each one of them you can select which Mii you use for them. You can put a hat on them, you can dress them, and those are all things that either are like part of the game or downloadable content or whatever. And some of them are generic, and some of them are like specific to like games that they want to incorporate into Smash, but didn't want to make a full character for them or whatever.
Like Sans.
Like Sans, for example,
Yeah.
yes, from Undertale. And then there are the 4 specials, and there are 3 different versions of each special for each type. So you can assign which of each type of which special they have for each one. So there's just a bunch of like customization options, and I remember really like digging into that on the 3DS, and back on the Smash for 3DS, and specifically I had made a Mii of the comedian Andy Daly, and on my 3DS I had made Smash fighters for each of the characters in his Andy Daly podcast pilot project. So like a Dalton Wilcox, a oh god, I can't remember any of these characters' names now. August, he's the German guy who works at a pretzel factory who likes to go on vacation. But so I had made all those characters on my 3DS, and I was like, oh, I don't have any of this on Switch. And then I was like, I don't have any Miis on my Switch. I made one for me, and that's it.
I think that's about the same for myself.
Which is a crime.
Yeah.
This whole thing around me is just like disappeared. So I was like, okay, I had got to go back in there and make a new Andy Daly Mii.
Yes.
And we made a Mii for Sarah, and then like a few other made a few other Miis, and then I also made Miis for Tifa, Aerith, and Barrett from Final Fantasy VII, because I had purchased the Mii fighter costumes for those characters back in the day, but never made them out of like Miis into Mii fighters.
Well, you got
So I went through and like I made a couple Andy Daly characters, and I made the Final Fantasy VII characters, and then also the Sans one. Like I'd purchased the costume, but never put it on a Mii fighter.
Yes.
Did that, did Cuphead, and made sure that they all had different special sets, so that when you select one of them, it's always going to be different than playing as the other ones. So
that's great.
They're all distinct and they're all discrete. I think I've got like 11 or 12 of them in there right now. And so like just being in Smash Brothers, I was like, no, I'll like play some classic mode. I'll play some, whatever. And it's just like the game just rules. Like it just keeps on giving. You can, if you want to spend time just like tinkering with your obsession with, early 2010s, comedy podcasts, personas, you can do that.
Absolutely incredible. Anybody, we could put anyone in Smash.
You can put anyone in Smash.
That's really fun. And that it adds, not like you're saying, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
It adds so much to, even just if you're playing just multiplayer with your friends, like they could select any of those characters anytime.
Right.
That's great.
They can open it up and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I can play as Dalton Wilcox. Andy Daly's Dalton Wilcox.
I definitely know who this is.
Poet laureate of the West.
That is way more than what I expected to hear from you about that.
Yeah, that it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I decided to play a couple matches or whatever. Yeah, no.
There's a lot to that.
I got weird with it. And I'm sorry, I'm talking so much, Connor.
No, please.
But the other thing that is sort of like connected to this, I was just like sort of taking stock of like, it was part of the whole like, I don't have any Miis on my Switch. Why don't I have any Miis? And I was like, you know what I also don't have? I don't have an inventory of my amiibo.
Oh, okay.
So I went through, started a Google Doc.
A spreadsheet or a doc?
Yeah, Google Sheets. Yes, you're right. And made a list of all the amiibo in the world. and then and then added like the metadata to them to be like they're from this series. It's this type of amiibo
Yes.
because all the Link amiibos can be scanned as Link, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was like, here are the ones I own. Here are the ones I don't own. The ones that I own, here's where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are in the display case that you just looked over to.
Oh.
Some of them are in boxes in the bedroom. The Wolf Link amiibo is with my copy of Twilight Princess HD.
Yes.
So like I just made this like very cathartic list of like I'm getting organized, Connor.
I
don't have any video game resolutions. I'm getting organized.
I love that, and that's the sort of thing that I also love to do. It's relaxing almost.
Yeah.
Which I think to someone that might be a terrifying task to take upon. But I love putting things on a list or in a sheet.
Yeah, and then like typing in like, here's where yes I own it. Here's where it is, and it just made me go like, oh, I should get some more Fire Emblem amiibo for when Engage comes out.
Aren't those the hardest ones to find?
They're kind of the hardest ones to find.
Are they by the way, side note?
Yeah.
Are they coming out with any for Engage?
Not that we've seen yet, but
cool.
It would be surprising to me if they, although they didn't come out with any for Three Hopes, so maybe that door is shut.
Maybe.
Connor, tell me about your experience with Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
What have I been doing
what
for
have
the
you
last
been doing, Connor?
The last 9 months. Kirby month was March, correct?
Yes.
And I'm kind of always celebrating Kirby month internally. But this is a game that I missed when it came out. I knew I wanted to play, but just didn't find the time for it. And because this is unnecessary, but I'm going to tell you, my parents for Christmas, I sent them a list of stuff because they still buy me the occasional gift.
Adorable.
They're like, we're getting you one gift. And so I sent them a list. It's kind of fun because you don't know what you're going to get. And they had decided to get me a dock for the Analog Pocket. But they didn't know that is not coming until next year, even though it very clearly says it before you even go to like an add to cart page.
Right.
So my mom, after discovering this,
I mean, but God bless him though, because like the whole like culture around the Analog Pocket, like pre-ordering and just being like, because you pay for it when you order it.
Yes.
It's not one of those we'll charge your card later. Like you buy it when you buy it, and then you get it when you get it.
Yes. The absolute saints for even going on that ride.
Yep.
But after my mom discovered this wasn't coming until a certain point, she felt bad and didn't want me to have nothing to open, so they got me another thing on my list, Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Wonderful.
And I have not played a ton of Kirby games. I think you maybe even had mentioned that I'd told you and Mark before that Kirby 64 was my personal favorite
That's right.
Kirby game, which is still a freak thing of mine. But
people go to bat for that one.
They do?
They
okay,
love
good.
It, yeah.
I still feel like a freaky little freak.
You are a freaky little freak.
But I'm all that to say, in love with this game. I am having a hard time putting down. I think I was even chatting a little bit with Alana in the Discord about it, and she had some really nice things to say as well. But it is so much fun. I touch everything. And also, as I was saying, I might not go back and get every Waddle Dee because I don't always like having to play through the whole level again, even though they are fun.
They're fun.
But I will do every single side mission, like the little bonus games.
Those bonus games, man.
They're great.
And trying to get them like in under the target time.
That is fun.
So fun.
Some of them, and here's the thing, I have a healthy relationship with this game where some of them I'll do it and I'll just know I don't want to do this anymore. Others I will do multiple times until I get the target.
Right.
I just finished World 5, so I'm in World 6. So I'm mowing through this game.
Yeah, yes, you are. So World 6, is that into the lava-y area?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
But yeah, I can't get enough. The Waddle Dees are cute. I love Elf Villain. I think that's its name.
Elf Villain. Yeah.
However you say it.
Who knows? Who cares?
Not me. And the last thing I'll say about it is that I love all the power-ups, and I was having a thought early in the game as I was still just filling out the spots on the shelf for the early power-ups, wondering, how are they going to continue to build on this in the game? Will it be, is this all there is to it? And they evolve.
Yeah.
And I love it. And some of them get really cool.
Some of them get crazy.
Like the Kirby, he puts on sort of like a snow outfit, like he's some Norse guy and has a giant sword. I just got the big wild hammer. It's great. I love this game. Did you end up seeing this all the way through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
I like yourself, didn't get absolutely everything, didn't 100% the game. But yeah, got a ton of stuff and like messed around a little bit in the post game as well. Just because, like you, it was hard for me to put down.
Yes.
Even when the game was like, you're done now. I was like, but
yeah,
but I want to keep playing. It's just such a pleasant world to be in.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to mention before? I played just a handful of other games over the break here. Yoshi's Island, F-Zero X, partially because the Nintendo Online thing was incentivizing you to play them with platinum points.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just turn these games on for a second to get those platinum points. But like you turn on Yoshi's Island and it's like, well, okay, I'll just play this for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And love it.
Oh, incredible game.
Ditto F-Zero X.
Still playing Shovel Knight Dig?
Yep.
Tetris 99, I mean, of course you are.
I'll touch on this for a second. There is I have a typo in the show notes here.
Oh yeah.
There is an icon that you earn in this game by collecting 999 tickets. And the tickets are what you use to buy like alternate themes, right? Takes 15 tickets to buy a theme. You can earn up to 4 tickets per day. The icon, you to get 999 tickets, you have to have those tickets, not have earned them over the course of whatever. You have to have 999 tickets. I have decided, Connor, that I'm going to get this icon.
I can't wait.
Which means every day I have to log into Tetris 99, earn those 4 tickets, and then turn it off.
I am so excited to have this to look forward to for myself. To hear at some point on this show, you will update us.
I will get there.
Have you calculated how long it's going to take? I think we were maybe talking about it.
I currently have like 436, I think, tickets.
So at the minimum, a year and a half or more.
No. Because I can get 4 per day.
Oh, 4 per day.
4 per day.
Oh, so you're looking at like...
I still need to get 500 of these things.
Yeah.
550 of these things. Which means it's gonna take a long time. It'll be summer before this is done.
Yes. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you. Yep.
And then rapid fire for me. People been talking a lot about Vampire Survivors. I'm also fully hooked. It's amazing, but it's not on Switch. Been playing it on Game Pass. I dipped into the TMNT Cowabunga collection. What a joy. Played through a Hyperstone Heist for the first time.
I still have not touched Hyperstone Heist.
It's so weird, but I 100% recommend it. We should do it sometime.
I love it.
And lastly, I started playing The Last of Us for the second time because I'm excited about the show.
Yes. Do you think that you will put in enough time before the show starts to... What am I asking here? Because the show will be easy, right?
Yes.
We'll watch the show. It will unfold in front of us. Do you think that you will get enough like into the game by the time the show comes out that you will be like, I prefer to keep suffering through the game, which isn't that, it's not that hard.
I'm feeling good about it.
You're feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Connor, that was wonderful. That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week. Turns out not much. First week of the year, not a lot of games coming out.
Yeah.
I wrote yikes in the show notes. As far as I can tell,
in italics.
Yeah, thank you. The only game of note here is the Arcade Archives Galaga is coming out on Friday, January 5th. But I did want to just like highlight that there are still sales aplenty on the Switch eShop. I have this insanely long list of games here that are on sale, and I don't even really know that we need to call out games, specific games other than like the Resident Evil games are all on sale again. The new Samurai Showdown and the Samurai Showdown collections are on pretty deep sale. What else?
The Mega Man games.
All of those collections are on sale. Yoku's Island Express is $4. It's normally $20. Overcooked 2 is $6.24. That game is the best. Here's one. Monster Hunter Stories 2, normally a $60 game, now marked down to $20.
That's as big of a discount as you're going to get on
That's
this.
as big as it. Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy.
So maybe worth picking up. Citizen Sleeper is $14. It's normally 20.
That's one that I missed from last year that
Yeah.
I'm interested in, but
Same.
it's also on Game Pass, which I pay for.
Well, then you just play it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah. And anything else you want to call out on that sale list there?
I mostly
Connor?
saw those Mega Man collections and Mega Man 11, which I never played, and was like, dang, I might want to get one of these.
Mega Man 11 is great.
Yeah.
And it's $9.99 is normally $30. All right, Connor, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of our show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Connor and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Connor, I saw The Fabelmans this weekend.
Yes, you did.
Thank you for that affirmation. A movie about the early life of Steven Spielberg. All the characters' names are changed, but they're just those people.
Yeah, an interesting choice.
It's a strange choice. The movie's a mess. I absolutely loved it. I cried a lot in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just like I'll kind of gently throughout.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
It was great, but I just thought we could talk about Steven Spielberg.
When you think of Spielberg, outside of the movie you just saw, what's the first movie that comes to mind?
Ooh, I think the first movie that comes to mind, and this is like me growing older and like revising in my head, because I think for a long time it would have been Jurassic Park.
That would be my answer.
But I think my answer now is Jaws.
Oh, yeah, that's the most recent Spielberg movie. I mean, I've seen it a few times.
Yeah,
but that's the only one that I watched. Last year, being 2022,
there you go.
I watched it right after seeing Nope, because there's a lot in common, and adore them both.
Right, great flicks both.
There's so much that is wrapped up in Spielberg and filmmaking too. Like I can't not think of also. I know we're talking about Spielberg, but John Williams and the music that colors his films.
Yeah.
Are there any Spielberg movies you don't like? Because I have one I really don't like, but a lot of people love.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a big war movie guy.
Okay.
So, like, I don't...
Warmer. We're getting warmer.
Okay, all right. So I don't particularly care for Saving Private Ryan.
Sure.
I don't love Munich.
Oh, yeah. Munich is a Spielberg movie. I'll tell you the one that...
tell me
the one
yours.
that I saw in theaters that I really didn't like, probably because it took me away from playing Skyward Sword when it came out, is War Horse.
Oh, I've not seen War Horse.
I really don't like that movie, and I know people who fall on both sides where they love it or they hate it, but I don't. Saving Private Ryan I do like, but I also haven't seen it in about 10 years. And I've matured so much, I might feel differently.
That's right. You're a different man now. Your tastes have been refined. Here's the thing. I don't really care about horses.
Yeah.
I don't like them. They're weird monsters with giant teeth.
Yeah, I've never been a horseman myself.
So I could, if I had seen War Horse, I probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
I also didn't like Lincoln.
I liked it when it came out, but again, I didn't have as much taste then. But it's Daniel Day-Lewis doing the Lincoln thing.
He is doing the Lincoln thing. It's so funny to me that movie is all about like the political jockeying necessary to do what Lincoln does.
Yes.
And then like that happens, and then it's like, okay, now I guess we gotta like here's like the obligatory assassination scene. Where it's like, why?
Yeah.
That's what you've told the story. Like, stop it.
Totally. So nuts. I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's millions.
E.T., how you feel about E.T.?
I love E.T.
Mm-hmm.
Watched it a bunch as a kid. Didn't see it for years. Watched it on a Blu-ray that I went through a big Blu-ray phase in the 2010s, and watched it by myself and cried a bunch. It moved me deeply. I love that movie.
It's
Yourself?
So good. It's just it feels so like lived in and real. Where it's like, you know, one of the things that like I miss in like modern blockbusters is the sense that people have lived lives before this movie happened to them,
Yes.
and that they will live lives after this movie happened to them that have nothing to do with the events of the movie.
Yeah.
And like E.T. is like the quintessential. All of those characters and all those relationships feel real.
Absolutely. I also wanted to say that I have a lot of Spielberg makes so many movies.
Yeah.
I have probably not seen most of his movies. In fact, have a lot of big blind spots, like Close Encounters I've never seen.
Close Encounters is good.
I actually have seen The Sugarland Express, which I think is
have
like
not.
his
It's
first feature.
It's his first feature, yeah.
Pretty good.
Have you seen the Columbo he directed?
There's the episode of Columbo?
One of the first episodes of Columbo he directed, and it's brilliant. Oh, Connor, that's our timer.
Wow.
So I guess we'll never know. We were joined.
I think it restarted.
Yeah, okay. We'll just go back to the top. 4:33 again. We were accompanied today by a timer on my phone. All right, Connor, let's get into the news. First news item is a question I'm posing to you. Did the box art for a new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch OLED model leak last week? Maybe it did. We're not sure. Images appeared on Reddit on Friday, December 30th, and of course have not been substantiated in any way from anyone at Nintendo or anywhere else. I have added the pictures to our doc here. Connor, what do you think? Do you think this thing is real?
I do, but I also thought the Grinch leak was real. If you remember the Grinch leak.
I do.
I was fully convinced.
The Grinch leak, a sort of infamous leak that included Smash Brothers DLC characters, and was also part of the 2019 Grinch movie with Benedict Cumberbatch.
2018. Because that was the year that game came out, yeah.
God.
I just haven't talked to you enough about the Grinch recently. So
Yeah. Connor, this is 2 episodes of this show that you're on in a row. Talking about the Grinch.
Well, I tell you what, listeners, we won't be making it 3.
Nope.
I do it. I don't know. I haven't taken a lot of time because at first I didn't want to see any of this, but then I started to see more.
Right.
I don't know. It looks like it could be real to me, and I personally didn't expect Nintendo to come out with a brand new big ol' Switch this year.
Which this is sort of something that if this is real,
yeah,
and it seems kind of mundane enough to be real to me, that they would just paint a Switch OLED with some Zelda graphics.
They've done it before.
They've done it before. They did it with Pokemon. They just did it with Pokemon. That like really throws water on the is there a new Switch model coming out this year fire, because this version of this wouldn't be coming out until May, and that's kind of like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's somewhere in the 7 months after that. I just can't see them putting out a new Switch in that time.
I fall in a very similar camp to you. I think that while we don't know what we know or don't know yet, I would venture to guess come February we might get that annual February Direct that might shed a little light on this.
Possibly. I totally agree with that, and we're getting close enough now where like we need to start getting hard information about this game. I was thinking back to the original Switch reveal event in January of 2017, where they gave us the Breath of the Wild release date, which is also just bonkers to think of because the event was on like the 6th or 7th. It was early January, right?
It was a Thursday night. I remember it very well.
and we, as do we all. And Breath of the Wild is then dated for less than 2 months from then, right? March 3rd, the same date as the Switch. So like that's the like most compressed timeline.
Yes.
And so like they've got to start spooling up the like marketing device that starts tweeting out like gameplay details and like little videos and stuff on all their socials. And it's just like we're getting there, Connor. We're getting to the point where we're gonna start to know stuff.
I think you're right. I also think this could be a situation where this might not be the only thing that has sort of popped up recently, but it could just be a case of where there's smoke, there's soon to be fire. So I'm excited. I'm just so pumped for this game. I can't wait. Anything they give me, I'm ready for.
Yeah. Here's another thing about Tears of the Kingdom. Elsewhere on Reddit, an ad leaked for Tears of the Kingdom that included the NSO logo on it. why is the Nintendo Switch Online logo appearing in ad material for Tears of the Kingdom? Is this a tease of some kind of like season pass, like DLC? Would that even be enough to warrant having the logo there? Or is there an online / multiplayer component that Nintendo has not yet revealed?
This is something that has me completely stumped because I have no idea what this could be about.
Yeah.
And I'm eager to see. I can't even contemplate like what a battle pass or a multiplayer edition of this would be. Would it be like physics challenges? Like I don't know.
No, yeah, like could it just be something as simple as like leaderboards, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
I think it's Luigi's gonna have a special balloon for you in the level.
People like to bag on that mode, but it was fun.
I'm not bagging, I'm just connecting it.
But yeah, like it truly is, we made the joke at the top of the episode,
Yes.
like come see the Ariana Grande concert. It is possible that this is like some crazy Zelda battle royale. Like we don't know what this game is.
And if that is the case, I'm
gonna be so disappointed.
I would not participate in it very much, but I would love to watch people get crazy in some giant arena as all these links with all the I just remembering ever since Breath of the Wild came out, seeing crazy physics videos from people and what people are able to do, becoming Neo in the Matrix, essentially.
Yes. Well, I don't want to fight against those guys.
No way.
No, you want to fight against Neo.
I want to watch those guys fight.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm a spectator, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, but like, it's just wild to me to think that like that could be what we know so little about the moment to moment gameplay. That it could very well be a massively multiplayer experience.
Oh boy.
We don't have too long to wait. The game is due out on May 12th. So just a couple months and we will know for sure. The week before Christmas, Nintendo released a series of one-a-day videos featuring new indie games available on Switch. That culminated on Friday with the reveal that Sports Story was available right now. Sports Story, a game, of course, that in the most recent Indie World Showcase got sort of shouted out as like, it's coming out in December. It is, yes, still coming out this year. Very exciting, and they were true to their word. It came out this year. Unfortunately, the game, like early reviews and user experiences, which are still like kind of on the rare side, just because like the industry shuts down in the 2 weeks at the end of December. That all sort of reveals that the game is pretty buggy. Developer Sidebar Games addressed this in a tweet. They said, quote, "We have a path underway to fix some issues that have been reported. If you have any issues, please send to our email with bug report in the title. Should be ready soon. However, the processing time for the patch could be a little longer with the holiday." So, kind of a bummer that the game is coming with some like severe performance issues that are bad enough they had to address it.
What I'm about to say, I already said on Video Games, a Comedy Show this week, but the whole rollout of this game has had me very confused, considering what a early smash indie hit this was for the Switch and for this company. We felt like we were waiting for it for years, never heard a thing. Finally, and then within the last month, heard that it was coming. It came, and now it apparently has some issues.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is going on here.
I think it's just the thing of like they made this indie darling, had to deliver a sequel, and we're like, what can a sequel of this thing be? It's got to be bigger. It's got to be more sports. It can't just be golf. And that just becomes a bigger, harder, trickier game. Like they delayed it was supposed to come out in 2021 originally. It was delayed out of 2021. And, at the time it was like, oh yeah, pandemic probably, right? But like, I think it's just a feature creep out of control.
Yeah.
And so like a similarly sized team, or maybe even a slightly bigger team, has to deliver a much more complicated game. And then it's no longer an indie team delivering a little indie title. It's something else entirely.
Yeah. this early stuff is a bummer. I hope they can figure it out, and I hope to play it at some point. I don't have any immediate interest right now, but that could change at any time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you plan to play this one?
No, I don't think so. I didn't play the original Golf Story. Mark liked it a lot, and so I'll be interested to see if he picks this one up when he gets back into the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you always want a game like this to do well,
totally.
right? And it's just kind of a bummer to see it come out in this way. It's where the art and marketing thing like starts to just suck, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, they said it was going to come out this year, and then they like made a big deal about the fact that like it's going to come out in December, and then we get later and later in December, and it's like it's got to come out at some point.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But they said they were going to put it out, so they had to put it out.
Dang.
Dang indeed. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge received a new update with a bunch of toggleable options in the custom arcade mode, and then there are also like display filters, CRT, curved screen, that kind of thing. I was not expecting there to be any kind of update to Shredder's Revenge.
This thing just keeps getting better.
I love this game.
I may interact with one of these features once, like putting a CRT filter over it, but what an amazing game this was, and I love that they're adding little things to it.
I mean, I'm still like waiting for the day that they like add a new level or a new character. Would love a new character, but some of the it was hard to like just find a list of what all the new like modes and options are and like what exactly they do. But just a couple of them to call out here. There's a free play mode that you can toggle on and off, so like infinite lives, which the game doesn't need because it's easy enough as it is. An old school mode where using your super attacks takes away from your health instead of from your ninja power. So like the Hyperstone Heist is probably like that. I know the Manhattan Project is like that as well. Doppelgangers, so you can have multiple people playing as the same turtle.
That's a great one.
That's a great one. Let everyone play Raphael. It's okay. Revive no more, so you can't give each other pizza to wake up. And a couple other faster foot, making the bad guys faster. Fiercer foot, making the bad guys tougher. And just kind of stuff like that. So like some options to vary the gameplay experience, making it either harder or easier depending on your tastes.
That, especially a game that is, I mean, it feels it's made to be replayed.
Yes.
For the people the diehards especially, who like I know, like a friend of ours, Eddie Martin, is great at these games and is way better at them than me. But this could be an amazing series of features for him to tweak his experience
and just make it a little tougher. The thing with this game that makes it unlike the rest of the Ninja Turtles games is you can actually be good at this game.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a way to like dodge and fight and
totally
like position yourself that like the rest of them they're just like you jam on the buttons and hope for the best.
And sometimes you were getting hit if the computer just wanted you to.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Or there are bombs that fall out of the sky. But yeah, so it's it is cool that there's a way to make this game make you take it even more seriously. All right, Connor. Square Enix has announced the end to their ongoing support / monetization for the Final Fantasy racer Chobo GP. Season 5, which brought in Midgar from Final Fantasy VII as a track, ended on December 21st and is the last new content for the game. Additionally, the sale of the game's premium currency, Mithril, will be discontinued going forward. Existing Mithril is non-refundable, and you have to spend the Mithril before January 6th, as the premium store is shutting down on January 6th for good. So a little just like background or perspective on Chobo GP is this is a like Chocobo kart racer game with a lot of content from other Final Fantasy games in it that Mark and I were early excited about.
I remember hearing this.
Thank you. But when it came out, it was sort of a microtransaction mess. Clearly, it is. They're hunting for whales, right? And just seemed like a bad balance of that kind of stuff overall. The economy of this game now, less than a year after it was released, is just totally being sunk because I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Either they made all the money they were going to make from it and we're like, forget it, we're not going to support it, or it hasn't been working, or who knows what. But this like disastrous release plan with Chobo GP is kind of being sunsetted.
Say it ain't so.
I'm saying good riddance is what I'm saying.
That I am with you 100%. This at first, like you're the two of you had initial excitement over it because it seemed like it could be just a fun, exactly what it looks like on the surface, a Final Fantasy chibi chocobo racer.
Yeah.
And there is something much more nefarious underneath, unfortunately. And yeah, I never planned to play this game. I guess now especially, I feel for the people who maybe invested in it or have money the mithril sitting in there that they won't be able to use after the 6th.
Yeah.
What?
It just goes away. Like,
that is so frustrating. I wish that no more games like with this exploitative sort of economy would ever come out, but they will. And I don't know, are they going to ever release like a version that's like, here's everything?
I mean, that's how you get me to spend money on it.
Yeah.
Is you say, all right, here's a $60, the full release. It has everything or most of everything in it.
Yeah.
Like everything except for, whatever, like cosmetic nonsense they added onto it. Like, give me all the characters, give me all the tracks, give me all the carts, and then I'll buy it.
I feel bad for the people who this happens a lot in video games too, where if you're an early person in early on a game, even like games that aren't exploitative like this, they're still like you don't get rewarded for being there early. Like a better version of the game will come out later with everything for the price you paid for the original version.
Yep.
Bummer. But good riddance.
Good riddance
that it's being sunsetted
to this experiment. I know that Square Enix has a lot of success with this like monetization model on mobile.
Yeah,
and I'm content if that stays there. Like, I hope this is a signal to them that's like, this doesn't work on Switch.
I hope so.
But who knows? Connor, and finally, while I was disappointed not to see Sea of Stars at the latest Indie World Showcase, we did get a little bit more information about a release window for Sea of Stars. Sabotage Studio, the developer of The Messenger and Sea of Stars, announced that the Pixel Graphics JRPG will come out summer 2023.
This is one of my most anticipated games of the year.
Same.
You and I both are big fans of Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
This is, there's another Chrono Trigger-esque game out currently, but this is something we've both been excited about. I'm happy to learn of a window.
We got a window. Summer 2023.
I am more likely to play this over the summer than I am Final Fantasy 16. As much as like I that could change as the game nears closer to release.
Right. Yeah, I probably am too. Although
very different experiences, I'm sure.
Totally different experiences, and that is coming out. That's like June
22nd.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter 6 is June 20th.
Maybe
Something. They're coming out like the exact same time. I love that. I'm of the age where it's just like, oh yeah, the companies just need to like pander to what I loved as a child, because it's like Street Fighter and Final Fantasy. Here you go, Patrick.
Yeah.
We're going to keep putting these out forever.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean, I will certainly check in on both. I loved The Messenger.
Yes.
Even though it is a totally different style of game than what it looks like Sea of Stars is going to be. So like any tangential relationship to that universe and just knowing that it's like the same people behind it makes me really hopeful, because that game is funny.
The Messenger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you play The Messenger?
No.
Messenger's really, really funny.
I only ever heard you all talk about it.
It's very funny. It's very well written. And it totally doesn't need to be, because it's just like a ninja.
Is it an action platformer?
Yeah, and then becomes a Metroidvania halfway through.
Incredible.
When you go back through the same levels that you've been through as like one genre of game.
Gosh.
It's just it's brilliant. But so I'm looking forward to the same kind of gameplay shenanigans in Sea of Stars.
Maybe they'll have some clever tricks up their sleeve too.
Connor, maybe they will. All right, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Connor is at
Conner _McCabe.
Hey, it's the same. We do the same thing.
Look at us.
And the show is at Nincart Society. Connor, is there anything that you would like to plug at this time?
Absolutely. And thanks again for having me back.
Thank you so much for doing this.
And I'll believe that Mark's coming back when I see it.
He's coming. He will. He'll come back.
Okay, now I'm less confident. Yes.
Here's the thing. I haven't talked to him in a couple days.
This is a long time for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, if you liked hearing me on the show, definitely check out my podcast, Call Me By Your Game. It's a show where I have a friend on to hear from them about a meaningful video game from a specific time in their life. We dive into what they enjoyed about the game and also what they remember about the context of when they had this meaningful time with it. There's a bunch of other stuff I do, but that's all I'm going to plug. Call Me By Your Game.
Check out Call Me By Your Game and join our Discord if you would like an invitation. Just tweet at us or send us an email, nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Conner McCabe, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.